Hi peeps, welcome back to another review of hands here. This session is going to be winning hands from the session we played yesterday, which is Sunday on the 8th. As you can see, if you saw the previous video I published, it was on the hands we lost, our big hands. This one we're going to look at some of the big hands we won. As I say, in this one we didn't run to EV, we only won 2 buy-ins. We really should have won well over that, 116 according to the tracker. As I say, at one point we were up 150 on the all NC adjusted. So it was one of those bitching sessions. The key thing is we didn't lose money, which is good. But it's pretty bitching how well PokerStars rips the arse out of me on more than one occasion. So without further ado, let's get stuck into some hands here. First one I've selected for you is the hand that won the most money in the session. This is a pretty tasty one, so let's just bring it back to the beginning. So we're in the big blind, and we got the criminal stroke victim raising small in the cutoff. We've got 7-8 suited. We've got 107 bucks behind us, so we've been doing pretty well on this table. Our opponent, excuse me, getting some oxygen there. Our opponent's got 43.39, so in this spot we elect a 3-bet with the 7-8 suited, which is fine with this sort of hand. It mixes it up. I can flat easily as well, but I don't mind the 3-bet considering how both of us are deep here. Okay, he then 4-bets, which is a clear indication of one of two things. Either one, he thinks I'm at it, and I've got 583 hands on him, so I'd expect him to have the same on me or more. But also key, if you look at his stats, he's 20, 16, 6, but critically his 4-bet percentage is above 10%. He's at 12, which is a little bit frisky. So he's probably 4-betting a little light, depending on where he is on the board and who he's against. In this spot, though, I'm a little suspicious there. That looks pretty strong to me. However, it's 4 bucks to see the flop. He's got 37, nearly 38 behind him. I've got 105. You know, 3-bet folding here would be just stupid with something like 7-8 suited. So I'm more than happy to see a flop with this hand, which we do go ahead and do. So flop comes down, and it's a pretty tasty one. We hit middle pair, and very importantly with this hand, a flush draw. Not only that, the 6 makes it very interesting as well, because if you think about it, we've got 6, 7, 8. So if a 9 comes off, a 5 comes off, we've got straight draws. If it's not heart, we've got straight draws on top of our flush draw as well. So we really do want to see the next card here, okay? At the same time, I don't mind playing this a little frisky because we have a lot of draws here. If he has an overpair here, like aces, kings, okay, and that's feasible, then technically we have 9 outs potentially. If we take 1 out for, say, let's say he has one of them. So if we'll be tight on ourselves and say we've got 8 outs here to the flush, we've got 2 outs to 3 of a kind. So that's what 8 plus 2 is 10, and then 3 sevens takes us up to 13 outs. Now on this sort of board with the pair as well, really you could be forgiven for going for it here. So remember, I've raised, I've 3-bet him. He's 4-bet me, and I've called here. Okay, so I check. He bets 4 bucks, which is really small, and I check raise 11.50 here. So I go for the check raise, making my hand look super strong. Now you're going to ask me, if he goes for it here, am I going to go for it? Of course I am. All right, so you know, there's no way I'm not. At the same time, if he has an overpair, okay, like aces or kings, and one of them's got a heart in there, for example, he may want to just take a card here, fearing I may have queens. Okay. At the same time, if he has queens himself, he's going to put it in my face. So it's really, this is a really important part of the hand here, whereby I get to see what he's got to a certain extent. If he goes for it, fair dues, we're going for it. We've still got a lot of equity here. But if he just calls me here, that gives me quite a bit of an indication potentially of what he may have here. Okay, so he does actually call me. The turn comes to 7, and now I'm thinking, right, okay, if he had a set of queens there, he'd have shoved it in my face straight away, without hesitation. If he had a nut flush draw like ace, king of hearts, he would have gone for it. If he has that flush draw, remember, I've got 2 of his outs, and I got a pair, so I'm actually ahead at this moment in time. So, you know, I'm not going to cry about that. So, taking all that into consideration, I'm now starting to think this puppy has possibly got aces or kings here. All right, it's 35 in the middle. He's got 26. The check raise is set up for a shove on the turn. We've now hit 2 pair. We've got a great spot here if he has the overpair. At the same time, we've got some form of insurance with the redraws to the flush, so it's no holding back here. We pump it. We go for, we put it 28 bucks in, which is putting them all in. He snaps me off. Sorry, whoa. We run it twice. Flush on the river, dandy. So that's great. 10 on the river. No ace, no king, which is cool. And lo and behold, he has right at the top of the range there with the aces. So we snuffle up those aces and we smash him for a small little fortune there. If I remember rightly, that was 42 bucks. Yes, it was. Oops, sorry about that, people. That was 42 bucks. So tasty one there. I will take that every day of the week. And we'll just close that one off. Next one I'll bring up for you here is we have aces ourselves. Very hard for us to get paid with aces, but now and again it does happen, and then we have a cardiac arrest. So we raise under the gun. We get 3-bet here, full fold, and we actually go for the 4-bet. And it's not a big 4-bet here, because I don't want to scare my customer away. If he's got a decent pair, he'll call. If he's got ace-king, he might go for it. So we're waiting for the action, and he just flats in this spot. Flop comes down with the queen, and I'm thinking, please don't have a set of sodden queens. So we go for 6. He just calls, jack, and it's like, right, and it goes, and we're thinking, well, it's now getting pretty uncomfortable here, because if you think about it, the jack and the queen could well be within his range for the 3-bet and call 4-bet. And this is a bit frustrating here, but I've started. I'm going to finish it, and if he's got there, he's got there. Puppy calls off. River's a deuce, which is neutral, and 6 because we run it twice. And what does he have? Look at that, people. Pair of 10s. Unfriggin' believable. And this is the thing at these levels. I've said this umpteen times. You just don't know with these guys. You just do not know. I mean, that puppy could not fold on a queen or a jack. Do you know what I mean? He could not queen. Now, I actually remember he typed on the jack, why? Why putting me all in, all this sort of stuff? And I'm like, eh? Do you know what I mean? It was like, why are you calling off with a pair of 10s? So really, he's got a gutter there looking for a miracle, okay? And he's trying to catch 2 outs. So he's got looking at 6 outs there to try and beat me technically. But he could have been up against queens there. Do you know what I mean? Which makes it even worse for him. So, anyway, we say thank you very much. Tasty little hand. Let me just see how much that was worth. That was worth, I think, about 26 bucks or so, which is nice. So we'll take that. Thank you. Close that off. Next hand here, we've got ace-king. We're in the small blind. I'll move this over here for you. And we get a small raise out in the country. We get a call on the button. And obviously, we 3-bet this hard with the ace-king. The original raiser folds and the button calls, and the button's got 80 odd bucks behind him, okay, 83 bucks. So if he's got suited connectors, pair, whatever, he'll be thinking, yeah, well, okay, I can probably call this. But there again, you got to look into my stack here of 22 bucks. It's not like I'm sitting here with 50. I'm only sitting here on this particular table with a buy-in. So, if he's set mining here, it's probably not profitable. Unless I'm sitting here with more than $25. I'm sitting here with 35 plus, then potentially, but, do you know what I mean? Anyway, he calls. Flop comes down with a big fat ace. It's a flush draw out there as well, which we're not particularly happy about. But we bet it, and he calls. The turn comes to 6, so we've now got 2 pair, okay, with top kicker. So we bet out 10, tasty, and if he's going for the flush, you know what I mean? He's got 2.4 plus my $8. He doesn't have the right odds to call here. Okay, so we bet 10 into that. He calls. Queen of clubs comes on the river, and that's a bit of an awkward card for me. But I've only got $8. I am committed to the hand, so we put it all in. Little puppy calls off, and guess what he's got? Yeah, man. Ace deuce. That's pretty poor. Calling off 2 pair and a queen kicker. So he's called a small raise and a strong 3-bet with a suited ace, but it's ace deuce. He strikes an ace. He faces a lot of heat from it, and he can't give it up. That's the problem when you're playing with shitty aces like that. So basically, he loses the buy-in there, and I rub his chips on my titties and say thank you very much. So tasty one there. This one here, we got a pair of 6s. I can't quite remember this one. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, we raise with it. We get 3-bet, okay, and the big blind folds. Now in this spot here, it's I have position on my opponent, which is what partly makes a decision here. If I'm out of position, and let's say I'm under the gun or +1 under the gun with a pair of sixes, and I get 3-bet here and I've only got a stack, then it's highly dubious whether I should call off. Bearing in mind, A, I'm out of position, and B, I really am only looking at 2 cards. In this spot, though, I can bluff this little puppy here because I've got position on him. So there's a lot of things I can do where I don't have to improve, but I could potentially take advantage of my opponent. So I like to call here in position. We actually do miracle the set, which is fabulous. The flush draw is out there. He bets 3. And we raise him up on that flush draw with the 10. We're not going to slow play this. There's a 10 out, a flush draw. If he's got over cards here, he's going to go for it. If he's got a flush draw, he's going to go for it. And if we lose our opponent, then they're fair dues. Flatting here allows too many cards to come on the turn where the action could just stall or drop dead. And, you know, I get a great hand here, and it's a great flop to make this raise on. So my opponent jams it in, which is great. We get it in with our set. 8 on the turn, 2 in the river, full house for bear. Runs it twice, 3, 9, and our opponent has queens. Perfect. So that's a great spot for a sixes, because on that board, he's going to think, well, I beat jacks, ace-10 I beat, flush draw I'm going to take on. Do you know what I mean? There's only a couple of hands that beat him technically apart from a set. So he goes for it and another stack into Bear's piggy bank. Thank you very much. We take that one. This one's quite interesting actually. We've got a little ace-7 suited and a raise, and I get a small 3-bet from the small blind. And that's what I mean by it's really interesting, because his 3-bet is too small. Okay, he only has 16 bucks behind him, right? The big blind folds, so really it's a buck, just over a buck to call here with 1683 behind him. If he makes that 3-bet a lot bigger, like 250, then my ace-7 is looking highly unattractive. So he makes that 250 or even $3 or 275, then it's very dubious whether I call off here, right? So another buck in there, and I possibly fold this hand, all right? Because he, you know, I don't have much history on him. I have no 3-bet information on him, and my ace-7 is, you know, it's ropey. It's ropey. You know, playing with dodgy aces. Yes, it's a suited ace, which is a big plus. But, you know, ace-7 is one of the best one of the worst ace hands as you can get, if not the worst. So hard to make straights with that hand, you know what I mean? I'm playing with one card. So really, and not only that, so often I'll find myself out-kicked if I hit the ace in these sort of spots. So, he makes it too cheap. That's the key thing I like to say. So I call in position, and we miracle the flop. It's 7-7 deuce. Now I'm licking my lips and praying to God he actually does have a genuine hand. He bets 191. I just call him. Turn comes an 8. He bets $3, and I'm thinking, right, let's make the move now, because if I just call here, you know, there's a lot of river cards which might stop him from betting. If he's got a genuine hand here, the odds are I've got a great chance of getting it. And I just genuinely thought this guy will probably pay me. So I raise him. He doesn't hesitate. Bangs it in. We bite him off, licking our lippies. Jack comes on the river. And lo and behold, he has a pair of 9s. So he didn't even hesitate on that 8, by the way. He just got it in straight away. He didn't think about it. He just thinks, I've got 2 pair. My pair's the bigger pair. To the board, I'm taking this puppy on, and boom. So thank you very much for that. I'm pretty sure he was sick to see that. So tasty little hand there. And the last one we're going to play in this little session here, people of winning hands, is with a little pair of 4s. And we raise under the gun. We get a caller, another caller, and a caller. We go full way to the flop. We've got 93 bucks behind us. There's 27 sitting to my immediate left, 26 on the button, and 28 in the big blind. The flop is 4-5 deuce, 3-10 in the middle. So we get a check. I bet 150. I put it in small, hoping, praying that somebody punts it. And obviously I don't want to see ace-3 out there. That would be puke. But we get one caller. We get another caller. And we get 4 ways. This is 4 ways to the turn. And that's pretty pukey. The king comes out. Alright, so now what we like to do is we like to be a bit dirty. We believe one of these puppies is going to bet at this if I check. So we get a check and I check back on the king. Okay? So I like to play this genuinely believing that one of these people on my left is going to go for this in some format. So we get one bet. It's a small bet. 2 folds, and I'm thinking, really small bet there. He's trying to buy a card. It's the first thing that comes into my head is I think he's trying to buy a card here. Okay, on that king. At the same time, if he has something like a king 10 or a king queen or something like that, you know, maybe with the with the spades, then you know it's bingo time for me here because I don't think he's going to give it up. So we elect to raise him up hard here. 10.75. That's basically, you know, another $8 to him. That is significant part of his stack here. It's 2.8 to 1. He does not have the right price to call this. If he's chasing that ropey flush. At the same time, if you think about it, he doesn't have a clear 9 outs here to his flush, because if a 4 of spades comes off or a king of spades comes off, that's 2 of his outs. Boom, that's a full house for me, or quads. Do you know what I'm saying? So basically, he doesn't have the 9 outs. He's chasing 7 here, so he genuinely does not have the right price here if he just flats. If, on the other hand, he's got a pair with a flush draw, like I said with a king, then he's just probably going to go for it. Anyway, he just calls me, which was a bit of a surprise. So he's left himself with $15 behind. The river card's neutral, and I'm thinking, okay, man, okay, what do you got? And this is where I'm hoping he does have king something. You know what I mean? King of spades, maybe king queen of spades or something like that would be just like delish, because I don't see how he can find a fold. We go all in, and he folds. And it looks very much like he was chasing the draw there without the right odds. And there's a key thing, people. When you're chasing draws, make sure you get the right odds. So when you know you're chasing like 8 outs with 1 card to go, you're needing like probably about 4 point. I think it's about 4.7ish to 1, roughly off the top of my head. A flush would be about 4, just over 4 to 1. And he's only getting 2 and a bit there, 2.7, 2.8. And even if you take the implied odds into it as well, he's not making it. He's just not making it. And added on to that as well, remember, he doesn't have a full clear 9 outs there. If he was chasing that flush, he only had the 7. So there you go, peeps. Nice little winning session for us there. Just to refresh you, when I say nice, it could have been a lot better. But it's still $50 from that. We should have been winning a little bit more. But on the EV front, we are 103 down, so we're about just over 4 buy-ins down. On the actual cash front, we're a lot more down than that. We're at $365. But as you know, if you've been following the streams on the 10 and the 25 Zoom, Bear has been basically having one arm tied behind his back so often with the way the cards have gone. It's been pretty brutal. But we're climbing our way back up. Fingers crossed we'll get to where we want to go, and then we won't be long before we get up to 50 Zoom. But anyway, thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. Like I say, I'm going to be doing a lot of these sort of videos where we'll run through hands, talk about pros and cons, ways to play them, and obviously you can see the 6 suckouts and you can see the 6 wins as well, and feast your eyes on that and enjoy. And obviously your continued support is much appreciated, because it allows me to put more money back into the channel and make it more entertaining for you guys and girls. So on that note, take care, good luck at the tables, and I'll see you at the next Zoom Poker Challenge. Cheers now. Bye.